The Sony Xperia XZ Premium has a stonking spec sheet. There's an eye-popping 4K HDR display, there's a whole heap of power under the hood, and it's got a quite special slow motion camera setting. But we're going to spend a week with the handset to see if it can really live up to the hype. I'm out and about today and I'm going to be testing the super slow motion camera on the new Sony Xperia XZ Premium. It's one of the biggest selling features of this phone. It gives you up to 960 frames per second slow motion, which is insane and beats any other phone on the market at the moment. Now there are 3 different levels of super slow motions. So the standard slow motion mode is only 120 frames per second. That's what you can find on other phones and allows you to apply the slow motion effect at any point in your video. But what we really want is the super slow motion 960 frames per second option. You've got 2 options. You've got one shot, which is literally just capturing a really short slow motion clip, whereas super slow motion will record a whole video with 1 section or 2 sections or 3 sections, however many times you hit the slow motion sections throughout it. And we tap the button, bam, and then we stop the video. Wait, it's over. So here we go, and we tap the button, bam. So here I'm going to test out the one-shot slow motion recording at 960 FPS. I'm going to do it on these blowing leaves. So literally all you have to do is hit the button. What I found is that you've got to be quite precise with what you want to get in that super slow footage. It only captures 5 seconds of super slow mo footage, which is really less than a second in real world time. So you've got to really time it, and that can be quite tricky. It also only really works up close and personal. So if you're looking for something far away, or is at a football match trying to capture some distant slow motion, it doesn't really work that well. 6:30 AM and I'm just about to take the XZ Premium off charge. So I've just left the house. It's been about an hour since I woke up. The time is just gone 7:30 and the battery on the XZ Premium is 97%, so it's lost 3% this morning. All I've done is do a little bit of social networking. Okay, so I'm nearly at work now. I've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes, and in that time I've been streaming music from Spotify to these Plantronics Backbeat Pros. Great set of headphones if you want to check them out. And I've also been doing a bit of emailing, a little bit of gaming, but I've been streaming solidly that music for an hour and 20 minutes. Gaming on screen time has been maybe about half an hour max. So let's see how the XZ Premium is getting on battery wise. 85%, which is not a bad result at the moment, and it's not yet 9 o'clock, so I'm not going to be late. So it's lunchtime, and this morning my phone has mostly been just lying on my desk with the screen off. I've taken a few calls, I've done some WhatsApp action. We are on 72% at 1 PM. Okay, so I finished work for the day and I'm heading home onto my commute at 20 to 6. We are at 59%. I've just got off the train. I've watched about 40 minutes of TV on the Sony Xperia XZ Premium. The battery's taken a bit of a hit, but it's still actually quite good. Let's take a look at what we're on. We're at nearly 7 o'clock now and it's on 40%. So it's the end of the day and I'm about to get into bed. We're at 11:05 now in the evening and the XZ Premium is still going. Let's take a look at the percentage. We are on 16%, so it's about to kick into its power saving mode, which it does automatically at 15%, but it's been a really good performance. I've not been a heavy usage day, it's been a moderate usage day, but you should be able to easily get a day out of a single charge from the XZ Premium. Today I'm going to check out the gaming potential of this phone. So as you see, I've got a selection of games loaded up here on the XZ Premium. You've got really popular games from the App Store, Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, Boom Beach, and also one of my personal favourite, Micro Machines. So we're just going to load this up. And while the bezels may not make for a really nice looking phone, it does mean that you can hold the XZ Premium really quite easily with 2 hands when gaming, and your fingers aren't covering most of the screen, which is great for this game because the controls are on screen in the corners. But with larger phones with a smaller bezel, you do find your hand covers more of the screen. So here we go, we're ready to race. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. The good thing about the XZ Premium is that it's not too heavy either, so it's not too taxing on the hands, but something you will need to keep an eye on if you're doing an extended piece of gameplay is battery life. Like with any sort of heavy gaming on a smartphone, it will kill your battery a lot quicker. If you're going to do about an hour of gaming, which I have done during my tests during this week, it's going to take a decent chunk of your battery life. You're probably looking at about 20-25%, so you might want to keep a charger nearby.
Today I'm going to take a look at the Sony Xperia XZ Premium's possibly biggest feature, its 4K display. Now I'm really looking forward to watching some really nice 4K content on this. Not many phones have it. In fact, the previous Xperia Premium product was one of the first ever to have a 4K display on it, and Sony is still the only major manufacturer putting a 4K screen on a phone. Considering the biggest feature on the Xperia XZ Premium is its 4K display, it's quite surprising that Sony doesn't give you any obvious signpost to some 4K content to really show off the screen. Looking around the phone, there is the video app, which I thought, oh, maybe there'll be something in there. So I loaded it up. You can't download any footage, you can't watch any footage. There's also another app on here, Xperia Lounge, and this is an app from Sony. But in here, it's just movie trailers and news. There's no movies to rent or download, and nothing in 4K. Where is this 4K content that I want to watch? So you can always sign into either Netflix or Amazon Prime. You don't get full HD content. You don't get anything more than full HD on the app on your phone. So again, even if it did support 4K, you can't watch the 4K on this phone. There's a cat, also not in 4K. Google Play Store, that does video. You can buy and rent. So let's take a look on here. Let's see if there's a 4K option here. If we click buy, no, there's only HD or SD. Try La La Land, Oscar winning La La Land. Again, only SD, HD, no 4K. It's starting to get a bit annoying. All I want to do is watch some 4K content on this 4K screen, but it's proving really hard and it's not easy to find at all. I'm going to have to resort to YouTube, which isn't the most ideal of locations, and it doesn't mean that I'll be able to watch a movie in 4K over here. It's 4K video. The screen is also HDR enabled, so 4K HDR footage will work as well, which will give you even better motion, colours, depth of field. So let's load up this nature one. Let's get past the ad. We need to check that it's playing in 4K, which is not at the moment. So we'll load that up. Check that it's doing it. Yep. In 4K, this footage looks really, really good on the Xperia XZ Premium. If you've got some 4K footage elsewhere, you can obviously transfer it to the phone, stick it on a micro SD card, slot that into the side of the phone and enjoy it on this screen. And so if you do have that content, do make the most of it, because it does look really good. This video isn't going to do it justice. I'm only recording in full HD, but I can tell you with my own two eyes, it looks fantastic. The only issue is trying to find that 4K footage. It's not easy, it's not signposted, so if you don't already own some, you might have a bit of a trouble getting to it. Today I'm going to take a look at the camera. So first up is this extra button down the side of the XZ Premium. It's a dedicated camera shutter key, and apart from Sony, no one else is really putting this button on their phones anymore. So it's two-step as well, so you can half press it to focus and then full depress to take a photo to make sure you've got everything you need in focus. It also acts as a quick launch. Hold it and it boots up really quickly and you're into the camera app. Something else Sony does well with its camera is it can track moving objects like this cat here. It will always keep the cat in focus as it moves around the garden, which means if you're trying to shoot the cat in particular, you're always going to get a nice in focus shot. Not many cameras offer this, and it's a Sony feature that they're really trying to push, and one which is quite useful really.
So that was my week with, and it was a very enjoyable week to say. It's a lovely phone to use. The screen is great when you can find that 4K content, but it is a bit of a pain to actually find, so you'll have to work a bit at it, but when you get it you will really be impressed. The slow-mo footage is also really nice. You can get some really quite stunning shots. Check out our fully dedicated video for more 960 frames per second action. However, there are a couple of things to note. It's not particularly brilliant in low light, and it also struggles indoors as well. So you want to really be outdoors in good light to really get the most from it. With a spec sheet so jam-packed as the XZ Premiums, there's no surprise when it comes to price. It's the same cost sort of as the Samsung Galaxy S8, the LG G6, the top phones of the moment. So you're going to be paying top dollar, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck. It may not be the most visually alluring handset out there, and it may not have the standout features that maybe some of the rivals has, but it's a solid Android smartphone, and if you're looking for a flagship, you can do a lot worse than the Sony Xperia XZ Premium.